At this point in my life, I don't actually know how many races I've signed up for, how many I've completed, but it's at the point where I probably don't feel like I need to sign up for another endurance event. And to be honest, these days, I kind of feel like anything less than 12 hours doesn't really test me the way I want to be tested, because I'm not so much looking for a physical challenge anymore because I know exactly where I fit into that realm. I'm really looking for mental challenges, and that means the thing has to go longer than 12 hours. So not only do I have experience with endurance racing and events, I've obviously coached many people for them, and I'm involved in some high altitude ultra endurance events myself with mountain climbing in places like Nepal. And what that means is I've learned a few tricks along the way that can help you be more successful at your next event. Now, first and most importantly, is you need salt. Salt is kind of a bad word these days in health circles. People think it's somehow a demon mineral, but the truth is that salt is an essential mineral. Now, when you hear the word essential when it comes to the body, it means if you don't have it, you're gonna die. So we have essential amino acids, we have essential fatty acids, we have essential vitamins and minerals, and sodium or salt happens to be one of them. Now we have this thing called the sodium potassium pump that works to make sure things are balanced out between inside the cell and outside the cell. Now, for every ATP you produce, so ATP is just a unit of energy that we create to make movement, 3 sodiums get pushed out of the cell and 2 potassiums get brought in as part of this sodium potassium pump. What ends up happening is you have 5 times more sodium outside the cell than inside and 30 times more potassium inside than outside. That's not actually the way it's supposed to be. And you can see for people like cyclists who tend to stuff bananas in their pockets and head out on long rides, bananas are high in potassium. That's great, that's part of the equation, but what are you doing to replace the salt? If you're only replacing the potassium, you're going to end up with more of a problem. In general, I tend to advise people to eat what I call single ingredient foods. That means when you look at it, it only contains one thing, like chicken breast. It contains chicken, apple contains apple, and so on. It shouldn't have a list of 20 ingredients after it. And what you'll find is that single ingredient foods will be low in salt. That means you're going to need to salt everything if you're eating what I think of as a low inflammation, high power diet for an athletic individual in their 40s. Unless otherwise instructed by your doctor due to blood pressure reasons, you should be adding salt to everything. Like with everything we do, you should pick from a variety of salts. So these days the rage is to have pink salts, but you should also have the white salt. You should have iodized salt as well. So you should mix up your salt intake just the same as you should mix up your training to get the best result from what you're taking in. The problem is that when we sweat, we obviously increase dehydration. When you increase dehydration, you lower blood volume because a large amount of blood volume is water. When you decrease blood volume, you decrease cooling. That actually increases the heat in your body, increases more sweat again, lowers blood volume again, and you can see the problem actually compounds itself, and you basically end up cooking yourself because you're becoming more and more dehydrated over time. Because salt helps you retain water, it actually helps you stave off that dehydration, and it's going to replace all the salts and minerals that you're losing while you're sweating. Now, while it might seem like it's going to be a very difficult thing to do, it just means that along with salting your food, you're probably going to want some kind of electrolyte either before, during, or after training to manage those losses. That could be as simple as drinking a Powerade Zero Sugar while you're training. Now, one of the next key things you want to do is make sure you pre-plan your workouts. And the good thing about smart watches and bike computers these days is you can create a workout and load it onto there. Now, I have to be honest, as much as I'm a fan of Garmin products, I hate their workout builder. It's really clunky and it's a little bit annoying to use if I'm being honest. My preferred method is this thing called Training Peaks. Training Peaks is a free training platform. I am not affiliated with them at all, but it's the bee's knees when it comes to endurance training and the ability to focus on workouts, create workouts, track workouts, all that kind of stuff. Making workouts in Training Peaks really only takes a few seconds at a time, and once you've synced your watch, it'll auto upload on here anyway, which means that when I go to do my workout today, I simply go to whether it's a run or a ride, I click onto that, and then I'll have an option to do workouts, and then the workout will auto turn up on my watch, and regardless of how complicated it is, my watch will tell me when my warm-up begins and ends, it'll tell me what my first interval is, it'll tell me how much power or pace I need to produce, it'll tell me what my rest interval is, and it will just keep cycling through the workout automatically, and then when I'm done, it'll load it straight back to Training Peaks so I can analyze it later on. But one of the big things that people miss when they're programming workouts is figuring out what their real priority actually is. If you're a runner, that clearly means you want to do running. If you're someone who's more interested in strength but wants to add running in for health and fitness reasons, then that's a different kind of workout in entirely. Knowing what kind of person you are and what your end goals are should make it easier for you to pick the right kinds of workouts rather than just blindly following someone else's advice. If you don't want to be a 55-kilo marathon runner, then don't follow the workouts of a 55-kilo marathon runner. Maybe you're looking for an 85-kilo guy who does a 2-hour half marathon instead. Using me as an example, I don't want to get too big because whatever weight I gain, I have to carry up a hill in Nepal. So it's making it my life more difficult if I deliberately add size. The second part is that all that muscle that I might add is metabolically very costly, and it means I need more food. Food is pretty scarce when you're climbing high altitude mountains. So if I need to carry around 1,000 calories extra with me, well, that's just extra weight I have to carry up a hill too. So knowing what my priorities are and figuring out what my adventures are going to be means I can plan the right kind of workouts. For me, hypertrophy and mass gain workouts are just a bad idea right now. That doesn't mean they always will be, but this year, bad idea. The next big tip is prep all your stuff the night before. Prep your clothes, prep your food, prep everything you need to get up and get going straight away. There's a big mental tip that goes with this, is that when you tick off a big, important training session first thing in the morning, it makes the rest of the day feel relatively easy. Firstly, you've done something challenging while most of the world is asleep. And secondly, because you've ticked off a big priority, it makes it feel like the rest of the day is kind of rolling downhill because you've been successful while everyone else is still asleep. It makes you more likely to pick other high impact items to tick off so that the entire day ends up being successful. The final point is that not many people want to bug you at 5 a.m. I've never had a customer say to me, "Oh, I had to attend a meeting at 5 a.m. that ran late." That's much more likely to happen at 5 p.m. and stop them getting in the gym after work. But very few people want to take your time away at 5 a.m. And for family people, very few kids are going to want to disturb you at 5 a.m. as well. So as much as there's always a rush first thing in the morning to get kids ready for school, get them shipped off, get to work, that's probably not happening at 5 a.m. When I look at my customers, the ones who are the most successful and the most consistent with their training, 90% of them are training before work. The next important lesson is about taking it slowly. Typically with strength training, people understand progressive overload. Add weight progressively over time, add a rep here or there so that you're slowly improving. Don't try to go from 40 kilo to 100 kilo in one workout. The same goes for running and riding, even rowing. If you suddenly jump up your rowing volume before your hands get conditioned, I can tell you now that you're going to get some pretty severe blisters on your hands, which is going to make all of your training difficult for the next few days afterwards. Adding load slowly allows the tissue to adapt, allows you to build up without injury, and allows you to keep progressing over time. When it comes to your strength training, I generally like working in the 6 to 10 rep range with people, and we'll pick a weight that they can use 6 reps with in the first set. Whatever happens in the second, third, or fourth set doesn't actually matter as long as they get at least 6 reps in that first set. Over time, we build all the sets up to 10 reps, and when you can hit 10 reps for all the sets with whatever the weight is, add a little bit of weight, that's going to drop the reps back down, and we just follow the same format over time. So this slowly adding reps here and there allows your body to adjust to the load you're using, and then when you've really adjusted and you're getting maximum reps on all the sets, we know we can add a little bit of weight and you'll be safe to make that next jump. But it's all about progressively adding in difficulty by adding volume or adding weight. That's intensity when you run, rather than trying to jump up overnight and causing yourself an injury. And finally, we need to be considerate about the realities of aging. In a lot of cases, simply treading water and staying in the same place is the same as advancing. As we age, our abilities are naturally going to decline, and if you can be in the same kind of shape you were at 60 as you were at 50, then you're going to be quite successful. Don't be disheartened if you're a 55-year-old and not able to go as fast as a 30-year-old or even make any kind of progress. That's just not realistic and sets you up for failure because you've got an unrealistic expectation of what's possible. And don't forget that the end goal of all of this exercise stuff is to make your life better. It's to make you healthier and happier, not necessarily make you the fastest age group world champion, because that's probably not going to actually make your life any better. This is all designed to make your life better and keep it all in perspective rather than obsess about it endlessly like a pro athlete would have in their 20s.